Learn English through story. The dark allure of passion. In the sprawling metropolis of Evernight, where the glittering skyline pierced the heavens and the streets pulsed with life, desire lurked in the shadows. The city was a labyrinth of ambition, secrets, and unfulfilled dreams, a place where the promise of passion could ignite a fire in even the most disciplined hearts. Among its inhabitants was Clara Weston, a successful art gallery owner in her late 30s. Known for her keen eye and impeccable taste, Clara was respected in the art world, but her life felt stifled by the expectations of society. Despite her professional accomplishments, Clara's personal life had become a series of routine, as sipping coffee at the same cafe tilde copyright, attending art openings with the same people, and returning home to her immaculate apartment, where silence enveloped her like a shroud. While she loved art passionately, a deeper longing simmered beneath the surface, a desire for something more, something wild and untamed. One fateful evening, Clara hosted an exhibition showcasing the work of a rising star in the art world, a young painter named Sebastian Drake. The gallery buzzed with excitement as patrons admired the bold colors and raw emotions captured in his canvases. Clara had heard whispers about Sebastian, rumors of his unconventional techniques and a magnetic charisma that drew people in like moths to a flame. As she mingled among her guests, she felt a spark of curiosity about the man behind the art. When the crowd began to thin, Clara spotted Sebastian standing alone by one of his paintings, his dark hair falling across his forehead, his blue eyes intense and captivating. The painting depicted a stormy sea, waves crashing against jagged rocks, the colors swirling with tumultuous energy. It was raw, unfiltered passion captured on canvas. Beautiful, isn't it? Clara said, approaching him. Sebastian turned to her, a slow smile spreading across his face. It is. I painted it during a particularly turbulent time in my life. The ocean is a reflection of our emotions, don't you think? Clara nodded, intrigued. Absolutely. Art has a way of expressing what we can't always put into words. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, each word igniting a connection that Clara hadn't anticipated. Sebastian spoke with fervor about his process, the way he poured himself into each piece, how art was his escape from the mundane. As they spoke, Clara felt a stirring within her, a flicker of something long dormant, a desire for adventure, for passion, for a life beyond the confines of her routine. As the evening drew to a close, Sebastian leaned closer, his voice low and enticing. I'd love to show you my studio sometime. I think you'd appreciate the chaos of it. Art isn't always neat and tidy. Clara's heart raced at the invitation. I would like that. From that night on, an unspoken bond formed between Clara and Sebastian. They met frequently, discussing art over coffee and exploring the city's hidden gems. With each encounter, Clara felt herself falling deeper into the allure of Sebastian's world, a one that was vibrant, reckless, and full of passion. One evening, Sebastian invited Clara to his studio, a spacious loft filled with canvases in various stages of completion. The air was thick with a scent of paint and turpentine, and the walls were splattered with colors that mirrored the tempest in Sebastian's soul. As they moved among the artwork, Clara could sense the energy pulsating around them, an electric charge that made her pulse quicken. Do you ever feel trapped? Sebastian asked, turning to her with an intensity that made her breath hitch. Clara hesitated, the weight of his question sinking in. All the time. I love my work, but it feels so broken, predictable, like I'm living someone else's life. Sebastian stepped closer, the heat radiating from his body pulling her in. What if you could break free from that? What if you allowed yourself to embrace your desires, to explore the passions that lie dormant within you? Clara's heart raced, and she felt the pull of temptation at the dark allure of what could be. I've never really thought about it, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. You should, he said, his gaze piercing through her defenses. Life is too short to live in shadows. Passion is messy and chaotic, but it's also beautiful. It makes us feel alive. Without thinking, Clara reached out and touched one of Sebastian's paintings, a vivid depiction of a woman dancing in a storm, her hair wild and her body free. It was a reflection of everything Clara yearned for. "It's incredible," she breathed. Sebastian's eyes darkened, and he stepped closer, their bodies almost touching. "What's holding you back, Clara?" The question hung in the air like a challenge, daring her to confront the fears that had kept her confined. She knew the answer, but admitting it felt dangerous. "I'm afraid of what it might cost me." Sometimes, the things we fear the most are the things we need to embrace. "Let me show you." In that moment, Clara made a choice that would change her life forever. With a surge of courage, she leaned in and kissed Sebastian, her lips brushing against his in a way that ignited a fire within her. The kiss was electric, a collision of passion that sent waves of longing coursing through her body. Clara felt herself unraveling, surrendering to the allure of what she had denied for so long. As their kiss deepened, the world around them faded away. Clara was lost in the sensation of Sebastian's hands weaving through her hair, his body pressing against hers, as if they were two stars colliding in the night sky. In that moment, she was no longer the restrained gallery owner. She was a woman consumed by desire, ready to embrace the chaos of her passions. But as they pulled away, reality crashed down around Clara like a cold wave. She looked into Sebastian's eyes, seeing the raw hunger reflected back at her, and fear gripped her heart. What had she done? What would this mean for her life, for her marriage, for everything she had built? She started, but the words caught in her throat. "Don't think," Sebastian urged, his voice low and inviting. "Just feel." "Let go of the fear." Clara hesitated, her mind racing with the implications of what they had done. She was a married woman, committed to a life with her husband, Nathan, who had always been supportive of her dreams. Nathan was everything she had once wanted: stable, dependable, kind. But in that moment, standing in Sebastian's studio, she felt a longing for something she had never fully understood until now. As the days turned into weeks, Clara found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. She continued to see Sebastian, their connection deepening into a passionate affair that filled her with exhilaration but also consumed her with guilt. Each encounter was a dance on the edge of a precipice, thrilling and terrifying. Clara relished the intensity of their relationship, the way Sebastian challenged her, awakened her desires, and made her feel alive. But with every stolen moment, the weight of her choices pressed heavily on her heart. Sebastian introduced her to a world of spontaneity, nights spent painting under the stars, mornings lost in the intoxicating rush of creativity, and days filled with passionate kisses and whispered promises. But as the thrill of their romance grew, so did Clara's inner turmoil. She began to question everything she thought she knew about love and fidelity. Was she being selfish? Was she betraying Nathan, who had always been there for her? One evening, Clara stood before her easel, paintbrush poised in midair, but her mind was elsewhere. The colors blurred together as she thought of Nathan, the gentle warmth of his smile, the way he believed in her talent, and the plans they had for their future. She had never imagined herself unfaithful, yet here she was, tangled in a web of passion that threatened to unravel her entire life. Just as she was about to set the brush down, her phone buzzed with a message from Sebastian. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Let's paint the night with our desires." Clara's heart raced, torn between the pull of the forbidden and the commitment she had made. She stared at the message, her hands trembling. This was the moment of decision. She could choose the safety of her predictable life or dive headfirst into the chaos of passion with Sebastian. With a surge of determination, she texted back, "I'll be there." That night, Clara arrived at Sebastian's studio, her heart pounding with anticipation. The moment she stepped inside, the air crackled with electricity, and she felt the familiar rush of desire sweep over her. Sebastian greeted her with a fiery kiss, igniting the passion that had been building between them. As they painted together, their bodies intertwined, Clara lost herself in the moment. Every stroke of the brush, every whispered word, drew her deeper into the vortex of desire. But as the night wore on, guilt crept back in, suffocating her joy. The chaos was intoxicating, yet the darkness it cast over her heart was unbearable. "Clara," Sebastian said, his voice low and filled with intensity, "you have to choose. I can't be a secret forever. I want all of you." His words hung in the air, heavy with promise and consequence. Clara's heart raced as she realized the truth of his statement. She had been living in a fantasy, avoiding the inevitable reckoning that awaited her. "I don't know if I can," she whispered, her voice trembling. Sebastian stepped closer, cupping her face in his hands. "You deserve to live fully, to embrace your desires without fear. But you have to decide what that means for you." Torn between the life she had known and the passion that consumed her, Clara felt the weight of her choices bearing down upon her. She could no longer pretend that everything would remain unchanged. The affair had transformed her in ways she hadn't fully grasped. As she looked into Sebastian's eyes, she felt a deep yearning for freedom, for a life filled with authenticity. But could she really leave behind the stability and love that Nathan had provided? The question gnawed at her as she stood at the crossroads of her life, caught between the familiar warmth of safety and the intoxicating thrill of the unknown. Days turned into weeks, and Clara struggled to find balance. She tried to maintain the facade of normalcy, attending gallery openings and social gatherings with Nathan while secretly meeting Sebastian. The lies piled up, the guilt thickening like fog around her heart. Nathan sensed her distance, the way she would gaze off into the distance as if longing for something just out of reach. One evening, after a particularly tense gallery event, Nathan confronted her. "Clara, something is off. You're not yourself. I can feel it. Please, talk to me." His concern was genuine, and Clara's heart twisted in anguish. She could see the love and trust in his eyes, and the weight of her betrayal pressed down heavily on her. "I'm fine, Nathan," she lied, forcing a smile that felt like a mask. But deep down, she knew she was anything but fine. The allure of Sebastian's passion had drawn her into a dark labyrinth of her own making, and the walls were closing in. Finally, one fateful night, Clara made the decision that would change everything. She met Sebastian in the studio, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. "I can't keep doing this," she said, her voice trembling. Sebastian's expression shifted from desire to confusion. "What do you mean?" "I can't live a lie. I love Nathan, but I'm drawn to you in a way I can't explain. I can't keep juggling both lives." Sebastian's face hardened, his earlier warmth replaced by frustration. "So, you're choosing him? After everything we've shared?" Clara felt tears sting her eyes. "I don't know if I'm choosing him or just trying to find a way to escape this chaos. I need time to figure it out." Sebastian stepped back, hurt flashing across his features. "Time, Clara? I can't wait for you to decide. You have to understand that what we have is rare. Passion like this doesn't come around often." His words cut deep, and Claire felt the weight of her choice crashing down upon her. She had stepped into a world of intensity, of desire, but now it felt like quicksand, pulling her under. "I'm sorry," Clara whispered, her heart aching. She turned to leave, the weight of her decisions suffocating her. In the days that followed, Clara sought solace in her art. She poured her pain and confusion onto the canvas, each stroke a catharsis that brought clarity to her tangled emotions. But even as she painted, the absence of Sebastian loomed large, a dark void that echoed with the thrill of what could have been. Ultimately, Clara realized that passion, while intoxicating, came with a cost. She had been seduced by the allure of the forbidden, but it had led her to a crossroads where she had to confront her true self. One evening, as she prepared for yet another gallery opening, Clara stood in front of the mirror, her heart heavy. She thought of Nathan, the man who had loved her unconditionally, who had supported her dreams, who had been her rock through thick and thin. She had let him down, and that was a truth she couldn't ignore. With newfound determination, Clara decided to make things right. She reached for her phone, her heart racing as she dialed Nathan's number. When he answered, she felt the warmth of his voice wash over her like a balm. "Nathan, can we talk?" she asked, her voice trembling with emotion. "Of course. I've been worried about you," he replied, concern lacing his tone. When they met, Clara poured her heart out, revealing everything of the affair, the confusion, the darkness that had enveloped her. She spoke of her love for him, her regret for the pain she had caused, and her desire to reclaim their relationship. Nathan listened in silence, his expression a mixture of hurt and understanding. "Clara, this is a lot to take in. I need time to process this." "I know," she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I've been selfish, and I understand if you can't forgive me. But I want to try to rebuild what we had." Nathan took a deep breath, his eyes searching hers. "I love you, Clara, but trust is fragile. It will take time to heal." Their conversation opened the door to a long, arduous journey of healing. Clara committed herself to rebuilding her marriage, learning to embrace the passion she had denied for so long but in a way that honored her commitment to Nathan. They sought couples therapy, learned to communicate openly about their desires, and rediscovered the love that had brought them together in the first place. As for Sebastian, Clara made a conscious choice to sever ties. She knew that the allure of passion could not compete with the foundation of love and trust she had with Nathan. It was a painful decision, but one she made with clarity and conviction. With time, Clara began to understand that passion could coexist with love, but it had to be rooted in honesty and mutual respect. She found fulfillment in her art again, channeling her emotions into her work, creating pieces that reflected the complexity of desire and the beauty of commitment. Claire's journey taught her that the dark allure of passion, while intoxicating, could lead to heartbreak if not navigated carefully. She learned to embrace her desires without losing sight of the values that mattered most to her. In the heart of Evernight, the city continued to pulse with life, but Clara moved through it with a renewed sense of purpose. She no longer sought the thrill of the forbidden. Instead, she found joy in the simple, everyday moments shared with Nathan, the laughter, the late-night talks, and the art that celebrated their journey together. The allure of passion can be intoxicating and seductive, drawing us into a whirlwind of emotions. However, true fulfillment comes from recognizing the value of love, trust, and commitment. Navigating desires requires honesty and self-awareness. The darkest temptations can often lead us astray. Embracing our passions should not come at the expense of our deepest values. The true art of living lies in balancing desire with integrity, finding beauty in both chaos and calm. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.